Let's go over several analysis tools we can use. The first one is contribution margin. I'm going to shortcut this when we talk about it today just with CM, contribution margin. Contribution margin equals sales minus variable cost. Now we can get contribution margin as a total dollar figure, or we can get it as a per unit figure. Okay. Now we've got some data. Let's look at it and kind of go from there. We've got unit selling price of $600, unit variable cost of $325, 2,000 units were sold, and we have total fixed costs for the month of $500,000. So we can kind of do a total and a per unit at the same time. I'll just set us up a little table here. We'll have a total column and a per unit column. All right, we'll start off with sales. So this should kind of look like an income statement for a manufacturing firm. To get total sales, I know that my unit selling price is $600. I can go ahead and put that over here. That's easy. And I sold 2,000 units. So if I multiply those together, that means I have a total of $1.2 million in sales. All right. Again, just to save time, I'm just going to put VC. You would want to write this out, but this is variable costs. Well, my unit variable cost, again, is $325. It states that already in my information I was given. I've sold 2,000 units, so I'm going to take the 2,000 times the 325 per unit, and that's going to give me a total of $650,000 in total variable costs. My definition of contribution margin is sales minus variable, so that's what we're to, is the contribution margin part. So I just take the difference between these. So that means my total contribution margin is $550,000, and my per unit is $275. What that means is I have $550,000 total dollars with which to contribute towards covering fixed costs and then having profits left over. Same thing on a per unit basis. It's just on a per unit scale instead of total. So this is a very important figure that management would want to know. Now, we'll go one step further so you can just show how this would impact, perhaps. Erase my doodle. Scoot up just a tad. There we go. Okay. So now let's put those fixed costs in. We had $500,000 in fixed costs. Don't worry about per unit because these are fixed. You don't do these on a per unit amount. So the difference here would be any type of net income or net loss. We have a positive still, so we have net income of $50,000. So that contribution margin again helps me know if I can cover all the fixed costs or if I'm going to have some profits. It's a good tool to use. Another way that we can use contribution margin is as a ratio. Contribution margin ratio is just stating the same thing but as a percentage. So what we would do is figure out our contribution margin per unit, or unit contribution margin, and divide out our unit selling price. For us, that contribution margin per unit was $275. And our unit selling price was $600. So our contribution margin ratio was, I think it came up to 0.45833333333 forever. So it's around 46% as a rounded figure. Again, that can help us as a percentage base. It's just another way to state the same information. Another figure we can look at is break even. Put that up here. Now, we can look at break even in units, and we can also look at break even in dollars. This is also an important figure. This tells me how much that I need to sell in order to just break even. So I don't have net income, I don't have net loss, I have no profits, but I also don't have losses. This is the minimum amount that I'd need to sell. Now, sometimes you may want to know what that is in dollar figures, but sometimes you may want to know what this is in units, or you may want to know both. So, it's not very difficult to figure out either one. let's first talk about if I want to know my break even in units. To do that, what I need to do is get my fixed costs and divide it by my unit contribution margin. Again, if I break even, and I've separated my costs out like you do for a manufacturer where you separate all your variable costs and your fixed costs, then I want to know how much it is just to cover the fixed costs. So this is what this is telling me. For our example, we had $500,000 in fixed costs, and our unit contribution margin was $275. So when we do the math on this, we get 1,818.1812, a couple more, we'll just put 0.18 just to round it off. So that means that, oh, you know what, I said units. I didn't do units, did I? Yes, I did. Oh no, now I'm going to confuse everybody. Stop. Let me erase. Hang on. This was units. Looking at the wrong thing as I talk. Yes. This means that I would have to sell. Let me erase my dollar figure here. I would have to sell 1,818 approximately units to break even. Now we're rounding, so that's not an exact figure. But this is the number of units. So I'm sorry, let's go back. Fixed cost $500,000. Unit contribution margin was $275. So when I do that, this tells me that my break-even units is 1,800 and about 18 units. So if I sold those, I would break even. Wouldn't make profits, but I wouldn't have a loss. Now let's look at it in dollar figures instead of in units. So if I want to do it break even, but in dollars or sales figures, then I'll put dollars. Then what we need to do here is I'm going to take the fixed cost, but now I'm going to divide them by the contribution margin ratio. So in our example, fixed cost still $500,000. That contribution margin ratio was about 46%. Now if you round, this is going to come out differently because we did have pieces of decimals. I'm just going to put that this was 45.833%. So we get a little bit more accurate number. But this is going to give me somewhere around $1,090,917.02. Again, we've got some rounding going on, so if you get something a little bit different but close, then you're right there. This tells me how much that I have to break even, but if we're talking about dollars instead of units. So that's the amount that I'm going to have in sales figures to break even. A little bit different than the units. But again, both of these are very useful and something that your management team would definitely want to know. This gives me the break even, but another thing you would probably want to know is, okay, well that's great, I know how to break even, but what if I want a specific amount of profit? So we don't want to just break even. That's not what you're in business for anyway. But not only do I not want to break even, I want to make, say, $1 million this year in profits, or whatever that is. We call that a target profit or a target net income. And you can use a similar equation to calculate how much you would have to either have in sales figures or in sales units to get that target profit or target net income. So let's use the same numbers and work through that. If you wanted to look at how much you would have to sell in units, all right, so your required sales units, then you just kind of change that break even before. In the break even for units, we took fixed costs and we divided by unit contribution margin. Well, that's going to tell me how much to break even, but I want to know how much I have to have for a specific amount of profit. So we want to add that specific amount of profit in. So we're going to add a target profit or a target net income. And then I'm going to divide it all by the unit contribution margin. So with our figures that we had, our fixed costs were $500,000. And let's say that we're assuming we want a target profit of $200,000. We're going to divide that all by our unit contribution margin of $275. So when we do that, that's going to give me 2,545.45455 if I round it off at that point. So this tells me that if I want to earn a $200,000 profit, I'm going to have to sell 2,546 units to get that $200,000 profit. Again, there's another way to look at it. We can look at it in required sales dollars instead. So now we're still going to take those fixed costs and add in our target profit. Now we're going to divide that by our contribution margin ratio. So we've got our $500,000. We've got our $200,000 target profit. And we're dividing all of that by that 0.458333 forever. Hang on, make that a little bit clearer. So our approximate 46% contribution margin ratio. All of that is going to yield me $1,527,283 and about 83 cents. So if we sold that much in sales dollars, we would get a target profit of $200,000. Now we can also use this to determine what sales price we should be charging per unit if we don't want to change production. If I don't care about changing production, I just know that I have to sell enough to make $1,527,283.83 in sales dollars. But what if you said, okay, we want to keep production at the same current level, or not production, but sales volume at the same amount. We just want to change our sales price. You can do that too. So what you would do there is you're going to take, let me go back, you're going to take this figure, what you know your sales needs to be, your total sales. So let me restate it for us. 1,527,283.83. Again, rounding. So we have these weird numbers. And you're going to divide it by your current sales volume. Well, our units sold were 2,000 units. And if I don't want to sell any more than that to make my unit profit, to make that target profit, then what that means is I'm going to have to change my sales price per unit. I'm going to have a per unit sales price of $763.64. Now, right now our sales price is $600. So if you think the market can handle that and you have enough demand, then you could just increase this and increase your profit. If you can't, if you did this and the market wouldn't respond very well, then it sounds like you're just going to have to increase your sales volume instead. But again, all good information, numbers we can run to make good management decisions.